All right, we have one last topic and we're going to move through it expeditiously. Cindy's going to put two statements on the screen. I'm going to read each one out loud and then ask which one comes closer to your opinion. Statement A, there's too much prejudice in our society today. Excuse me. People need to be more respectful in what they do and say to avoid offending other people. Statement B, there's too much political correctness in our society today and too much pressure on people to limit what they can do or say to avoid offending other people. All right. So you got two statements. You read them both. Cindy, you can take. I want to know which one comes closer to your point of view, A or B. All right, Cindy, you can take it off the screen. Show of fingers. Who would say statement A is closer to your point of view? Split. Thomas, Marlon, Denzel, Jeffrey. Okay. The other three of you, statement B, correct?
Yeah, I believe no.
All right.
Yeah.
Go on to the second question, Cindy. I'm going to skip the discussion ones on this one. Statement A, we should continue DEI programs because diverse perspectives reflect our country, create innovative ideas and solutions, encourage unity, and make our workplaces fair and inclusive. Actually, hang on a second. See, I'm afraid I messed this up. There's a question that precedes this. On the topic of DEI, meaning diversity, equity, and inclusion, and the programs that exist in the workplace, please tell me which of the following statements best describes your opinion. And now put the statements up. Statement A, we should continue DEI programs because diverse perspectives reflect our country, create innovative ideas and solutions, encourage unity, and make our workplaces fair and inclusive. Or statement B, we should eliminate DEI programs because they create divisions and inefficiencies in the workplace by putting too much emphasis on race and other social factors over merit, skills, and experience. Okay? I'd like to know whether you choose statement A or statement B. You take it off the screen. Who says statement A? Same four as before. The other three of you, statement B. Okay. So, why statement A for the four of you who chose it?
So go ahead.
I mean, for me, historically, there's a natural disadvantage. So, I mean, we may not necessarily need to maintain levels at what they have been in terms of DEI organizations, groups, et cetera, in terms of like the amount of people. But I think there still needs to be something that combats deficiencies that are from his history, essentially. You know, short end of the stick from an educational standpoint, from a financial standpoint, where, you know, if it weren't for things like DEI, some people wouldn't see any positions of, you know, higher power or in certain industries, et cetera, in my opinion.
Okay.
I agree with
I would
Denzel.
say fairness and inclusiveness, you know, opportunities for advancing your career. And you know, this D&I really just was promoted within the last 4 to 5 years since COVID. It wasn't promoted as much as it should have been. But now they've opened it up, whereas it is you know, it was in high demand, and every organization had it, but it's very few organizations that have chosen not to move forward with D&I. They're going to continue it, but it's, you know, handful that have decided to do away with it.
Okay. Jeffrey, you going to say something?
I agree with Denzel. It may not be perfect, but I think it still has to be something in place to combat discrepancies in the workplace. It's a double-edged sword now that DEI term has been bastardized now, that any person other than, you know, Caucasian has a position, a high position. Oh, that's DEI, so he or she is not qualified, and that's just bastardized that term right now to question anybody who has a position that they were hired, not necessarily based on their merits or whatever, but just based on their color.
The other three of you, why'd you say the other statement, statement B? Therese, why don't you go first?
If I'm in a hospital and I need to get an operation, I want you to have the skills and experience.
Okay. And you're concerned that you wouldn't have, that person would not have the skills and experience in a world of
I don't want my thing is like, you earn what you get in life. And if you, my belief is if you work hard and go and earn it, you'll get it. That's my belief. And if, like I said, if I'm in the hospital, I don't want a doctor operating on me because somebody felt sorry for him and let him in. I want you to be operating on me because you got the skills and the experience. And I believe that if you pursue those skills and experience, you'll get to where you need to get to be who you need to be. That's what I believe.
All right. Got it. Well, let me, I want to address this with a very recent example. So you all remember there was a very bad mid-air crash in late January in DC, where a helicopter struck a plane near Reagan National Airport.
Mhm.
Shortly after the crash, President Trump was asked the following question at a press conference.
On DEI and the claims that you've made, are you saying this crash was somehow caused and the result of diversity hiring? And what evidence have you seen to support these claims?
It just could have been. We have a high standard. We've had a much higher standard than anybody else. And there are things where you have to go by brain power, you have to go by psychological quality. And psychological quality is a very important element of it. These are various very powerful tests that we put to use, and they were terminated by Biden. And Biden went by a standard that's the exact opposite. So we don't know, but we do know that you had two planes at the same level. You had a helicopter and a plane. That shouldn't have happened. And we'll see. We're going to look into that, and we're going to see. But certainly for an air traffic controller, we want the brightest, the smartest, the sharpest. We want somebody that's psychologically superior, and that's what we're going to have. Yeah.
So by a show of fingers, do any of you find anything that President Trump said there objectionable? 4 of you do. What was objectionable?
Well,
There was one person doing several jobs because somebody was not at work, or they, you know, let somebody go. So they were short staffed. And for him to get on that stage and state those things in regards to D&I has nothing to do with it. They were short staffed. And then the communication did not get to the folks in the helicopter because the plane had the clearance to land. So that's ridiculous. They were short staffed, and it was because of him that they were short staffed. You know, because they said fire some folks, and then he stated he's going to work on the FAA and limiting the staff, and they were still short people, and they still are today.
Thank you. Anybody, for those others who thought it was objectionable, different reason than what Thomas said. Different reason.
I would say to use knowing his platform and how many people view his press conferences and everything like that, to come out with a claim like that, to use Jeffrey's term of essentially bastardizing DEI with no evidence, equivocal evidence that like, hey, this was a grade 2, and they should have been a grade 1, or something like that. I think using that platform, I think, was the biggest issue I had, because it puts that thought into people's head that maybe they weren't even considering it to be a DEI issue. Now, oh, maybe this was a DEI issue, and now it creates this theme around all of what DEI is meant to be.
Okay.
I know, Jeffrey, I didn't want to cut you.
Am I allowed to say something or no? I'll move on.
Super quick, Jeffrey, just in the interest of time. I'm sorry.
No, just to repeat that. I mean, he had no evidence of DEI hire that was the problem, but his words have power, and people hang on to his every word. And he put that out there. He bastardized DEI. That's why now anything that happens is DEI based.
Okay. So for the other three of you, why was this not objectionable? Some would say the president is using the term diversity as a substitute for black and blaming blacks for the crash. What's wrong with that interpretation of the president's comment? Doris, what is that criticism getting wrong?
I'll make it quick. What I heard him say is it could have been, and we'll look into it. He didn't say anything was definite.
Okay.
Yep. And the reporter asked the question purposely.
Right.
That it has nothing to do with how he responded. She created a narrative, right? And so, as we as consumers of this narrative, we now, oh my God, how did he respond to that, right? I don't agree with it. So I don't,
Right.
I don't share that.
Okay. Got it. By a show of fingers, who heard that conservative media figure Ben Shapiro launched a petition calling on President Trump to pardon former Minnesota police officer Derek Chauvin, who was convicted in the 2020 murder of George Floyd? Who heard that news, that Shapiro created that? Thomas did. Anybody? I'm sorry, and Jeffrey did also. Two of you. By a show of fingers, who think Chauvin should be pardoned? Anybody? None of you.
No.
So when you see someone like Shapiro calling for the president to pardon Chauvin, what's going through your head?
I think it's stupid.
I agree.
Racism.
Don't.
Yeah,
He
shock
going
jock.
Yeah,
He's
he
trying to
going
get,
for
he just trying to
clicks.
get some,
click.
he's trying
Yeah.
to get some clicks and views. Shock
And
Click,
jock.
see,
right.
see what he can get away, see what he can get through Trump's ears to get him thinking about it.
Okay. And if Trump decided to pardon Chauvin, how many of you would be pissed? Show of fingers.
So that's a nation that would be pissed.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
I
there's
would
going to
be-
be
I
another
would be-
major riot.
I would be mad, but it's just it's a daily occurrence. It goes back to Rodney King and the rest of them people.
But just hearing it, you got. So the comment is you'd personally be pissed. You think the country would be pissed.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It would be, but people go, they'll move on.
Okay.
A majority of the people.
A
would be
majority, I would say over the 50%
Majority.
threshold. Yeah.
There was too much emphasis put onto that case, and what happened, all of that with George Floyd, the country would be really chaotic.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Cindy's going to put 2 pairs of statements on the screen, one at a time. First question is, please tell me which one of the following statements comes closer to your opinion. First statement. Statement A. There's too much prejudice in our society today, and people need to be more respectful in what they do and say to avoid offending other people. Statement B. There's too much political correctness in our society today, and too much pressure on people to limit what they can do or say to avoid offending other people. Everybody got those two statements? All right, clear in your mind which one you agree with more? All right, Cindy, you can take it down. Who says statement A, they agree with more? Statement B. Garland, which one are you with?
They both seem like almost the same thing, just worded differently.
They are, put it back on screen, Cindy. I want you to read it again. What? There's too much prejudice in our society today. And people need to be more respectful in what they do and say to avoid offending other people. Versus there's too much political correctness in our society today. And too much pressure on people to limit what they can do or say to avoid offending other people. Colin, is the distinction clear?
Yeah, I'll go with B.
B. Okay. All five of you are with B. All right. Go to the next pair of statements. So on the topic of DEI, meaning diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in the workplace, please tell me which of the following statements best describes your opinion. Statement A, we should continue DEI programs because diverse perspectives reflect our country, create innovative ideas and solutions, encourage unity, and make our workplaces fair and inclusive. Versus statement B, we should eliminate DEI programs because they create divisions and inefficiencies in the workplace by putting too much emphasis on race and other social factors over merit, skill, and experience. Everybody got those two? All right. Show of fingers. Who says statement A is the one that they agree with more? Nobody. Statement B. All five of you. Okay. Paul, why statement A, statement B?
Well, everybody's money spends the same. And you can't separate and say this person is better off than this person and judge them by that. We're all equal. That's how we were made. There's no difference in black, white, Mexican. We're all human beings. That's it. That's one nation under God. That's all of us.
Okay. Ilya, what about you?
I mean, affirmative action never helped me, so I'm cool with not having affirmative action, DEI, or any of that. May the best person get the job.
Okay. Garland, what about you?
I don't think it's necessary because to me, I don't care. If I'm in a hospital, I'm having surgery, I don't care if the doctor's black, white, Indian. I want the best doctor. Whoever has the best skills. So bring it on.
Got it. Okay. So you guys will remember there was a very bad mid-air collision between a helicopter and a plane in Washington back in late January. And shortly after the crash, President Trump said this at a press conference. Just wanted you to hear it and get your reaction to it.
Mr. President, on DEI and the claims that you've made, are you saying this crash was somehow caused and the result of diversity hiring? And what evidence have you seen to support these claims?
It just could have been. We have a high standard. We've had a much higher standard than anybody else. And there are things where you have to go by brain power. You have to go by psychological quality. And psychological quality is a very important element of it. These are various very powerful tests that we put to use, and they were terminated by Biden. And Biden went by a standard that's the exact opposite. So we don't know, but we do know that you had two planes at the same level. You had a helicopter and a plane. That shouldn't have happened. And we'll see. We're going to look into that, and we're going to see. But certainly for an air traffic controller, we want the brightest, the smartest, the sharpest. We want somebody that's psychologically superior, and that's what we're going to have. Yeah.
By a show of fingers, do any of you find anything that the president said there objectionable? Nothing. Okay. So let me play devil's advocate again. So some would say that the president is using the term diversity as a substitute for African American, person of color, and she's blaming people of color. I'm sorry, he's blaming people of color for the crash. He's just using the word diversity there, or DEI, as a substitute for meaning people that don't look like him. Tell me what's wrong with that interpretation I just stated.
It's wrong for you.
I didn't feel that he said that at all.
Yeah, the reporter said that she mentioned DEI.
Yeah,
and he
she
addressed
did
the
that.
question. He
Yeah.
answered the question.
I
Okay.
think we're tired of reacting to words now, you know.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, another thing that they got to stop with. They got to stop with this race baiting stuff.
Yeah.
The Dems need to stop with that and to stop with the
It's
fear.
exhausting.
Yeah, stop with the fear. You know, we done been through a lot. It's nothing that is scaring me at this point. And you know, the race baiting is just not good. It's not working.
So hold on a second. So again, just playing devil's advocate.
Uh-huh.
Some people would say that Trump is the one doing the race baiting, not the other way around.
She asked him the question and mentioned DEI in her question.
But perhaps it was in response to something he had said earlier about DEI and diversity.
Yeah, but that's not in the clip here that you just showed.
Right. We need to start seeing the whole clip and stop giving us little pieces and then asking us to go in on a piece. I think that's a problem that's happening now in media anyway.
Okay. Well, I think this started because President Trump had said that the crash was due to DEI policies.
Do you have the clip to show us?
Well, she was asking him about in a comment he had said originally about that.
So even to his point of having the most skilled person there, DEI, you know, it's not just about people of color. It's you know, somebody who's gay or not, or it's a bunch of different people that may not necessarily qualify for a job, but they're going to get the job anyway, just so that it's all inclusive to everybody. When that's not necessarily even a fair shot at getting a job. So I don't really find issue with what he said.
Okay, got it.
Mhm.
So just to be clear, so if his concern is that unqualified people are getting jobs like air traffic controllers or pilots,
Mhm.
and that the reason for that is that they were chosen based upon their skin color or their sexuality as opposed to their skill level, that's a legitimate concern for him to raise. Is that what you're telling me?
I would say so. I mean,
I wouldn't even be comfortable knowing that there was a DEI hire. Shit, I don't want to be on this plane. So I'm with him 100%.
Okay, got it. And by the way, I'm fully aware I'm a white guy asking you guys about.
We're okay with it.
Yeah.
I should have said that at the beginning of the conversation, but just know I'm not clueless. Okay, I get who I'm talking to here. All right, and you guys are very kind to let me engage with you this way. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So, by a show of fingers, who heard that conservative media figure Ben Shapiro launched a petition calling on President Trump to pardon former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, who was convicted in 2020 of the 2020 murder of George Floyd? Who heard that Shapiro's calling for a petition? Okay, 2 of you heard that.
I think I did hear that.
Okay. By a show of fingers, who thinks Chauvin should be pardoned by President Trump for the federal crimes he was convicted of?
One bit.
None of you.
I went through the same thing. 2 surgeries in my neck, paralyzed from my chest down for 3 years. from an officer in Gwinnett County here. I went through the same thing George Floyd went through when I'm still alive.
Oh my God.
God bless you, brother.
That's right.
Mhm.
God took me through it. I'm telling you, for real. Slapped me down so I could listen.
There you go.
So I know this is very hard, Paul. Thank you very much for being willing to even talk about this. I can only imagine how difficult this is. And we're just about done. I just wanted to ask you about it. Well, in no way has President Trump suggested he plans to do this. So I just want to make that excruciatingly clear. If he were to pardon Chauvin, how many of you would be really, really upset? Show of fingers. Wow. So wait a second. 3 of you? Paul, you wouldn't be really upset if you pardoned him?
I wouldn't have, if he pardoned him, that's something he did. I mean, like I said, I had to forgive the officers who did this to me, for me to be me.
Uh-huh.
And I couldn't be mad. It's done and over. It couldn't change nothing. Whether
Okay.
he get out or not, he's gonna get out eventually sometime anyway. It doesn't even matter. So the other guy's dead. So we should be asking him. Does it matter to him or his folks? Because he's not here no more.
Got it. Okay. All right.
I would be upset, but my upsetness would just be, okay, I'm upset, but he might know something that I don't know.
Okay.
So I'm upset, but if he has reason beyond something that I don't know, based upon what the media has said, hey, if he feels that he should be, okay. But I still be upset about it, but it's like, okay, you know.
Okay. So if he did pardon Chauvin, this again, a complete hypothetical, what do you think would be behind it?
I have no clue.
Yeah, I have no idea what will be behind
Hard
it.
to say.
Well, let me back
I
up.
wouldn't.
Let me back up. Why do you think Ben Shapiro's calling for him to do it?
I think it's because he's trying to cover for something else. Maybe we're doing something else we shouldn't do. And to get our focus off of that, let's focus on this. And even if he pardons him federally, he still has to serve time on the state level. So really, this is a moot point. It's like, why are we focusing here now, Ben? And we're not focusing on, let's be honest, Israel, who he defends day and night. So there's a reason why he said that. And I think it's to get us to go back to the race baiting thing, to have us over here looking at this when they're doing all of this over here.
Right.
So that's why I think I wouldn't mind if he pardoned him or not.
Diversion, you're right.
Okay. I'm with
I
you
can
on
see
that.
it. Yeah, I can
I'm
see
I'm with
it.
that.
Okay.
Another distraction.
Got it. Okay.